The Constitution lays out 3 offenses for which any federal official, including the president, can be impeached. The first 2, treason and bribery, are pretty straightforward. Treason means helping enemies of the United States, and bribery is taking money or gifts in exchange for a political favor.
And the last phrase, high crimes and misdemeanors, is hard to define. Obviously, it's not defined in the Constitution, but these were thought to be serious offenses against the Republic and serious breaches of trust.
For 3 U.S. presidents, Andrew Johnson, Richard Nixon, and Bill Clinton, the question of whether to impeach and remove them from office centered around whether their behavior fit into this third category of high crimes and misdemeanors. The impeachment process has to start in the House of Representatives. Any member can introduce an impeachment resolution.
A resolution, articles of impeachment of George Bush, President of the United States. Resolved, that President George W. Bush be impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors.
But plenty, like this one, go nowhere. That's because impeachment charges have to be approved by a majority of the House Judiciary Committee. Next, the full House of Representatives votes on whether to impeach. If a simple majority votes yes, the president is officially impeached. But that doesn't necessarily mean they lose the presidency. That decision happens in a Senate trial. The senators are basically the jury. They hear evidence from both sides, and if 67 of those senators vote to convict, the president is removed from office. This has never actually happened. A House majority voted to impeach Andrew Johnson for firing his Secretary of War. This was after months of conflict after Reconstruction following the Civil War. The only other president impeached by the House was Bill Clinton in 1998. But in both of those cases, not enough senators voted to actually remove the president from office. Johnson was only 1 vote short, but in Clinton's case, it wasn't even close.
The respondent, William Jefferson Clinton, President of the United States, is not guilty as charged in the 2nd article of impeachment.
That's because votes in Clinton's impeachment in the House and trial in the Senate were split almost completely by party.
And part of the disagreement within the Senate had to do with the context in which Clinton's actions had taken place.
The whole thing started when Clinton was sued for sexual harassment by a woman named Paula Jones, who had worked for him when he was governor of Arkansas. In a deposition for that case, Jones's lawyers asked Clinton if he'd had a sexual relationship with a different woman, a White House intern named Monica Lewinsky. Clinton said he hadn't.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
But that wasn't true.
I had intimate contact with her that was inappropriate.
House will be in order.
Republicans in the House argued that Clinton should be impeached for lying under oath.
This is a public act, not a private act.
What the defenders want to do is lower the standards by which we hold this president.
You, sir, may resign your post.
Democrats disagreed that the offense was serious enough to be called a high crime. At one point, they walked out of the House chamber in protest.
There is one small segment on the far right who have lost all objectivity and are determined to impeach the president at all costs.
House Resolution 611 resolved that William Jefferson Clinton, President of the United States, is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors.
But throughout this process, Clinton's popularity never really suffered.
In a sense, the American people are demanding that he be tossed out of office.
Not a single Democratic senator voted to remove Clinton from office.
Typically, you'd need to have members of more than one party.
That's one of the major differences between Clinton's case and President Richard Nixon's. Over the course of several months in 1973, members of Congress and the American people learned about Nixon's possible involvement in a break-in at the offices of the Democratic National Committee.
The Democratic National Committee is located in the Watergate office building.
The 5 men carried cameras and apparently had planted electronic bugs.
The espionage operation on the president's behalf was called the Offensive Security Program. The charge that the president knowingly participated in the Watergate cover-up.
That evidence only came out because Republicans, members of Nixon's own party, called for investigations into the president's behavior.
I welcome this kind of examination because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
What did the president know
And when did he know it?
In the House Judiciary Committee, Republicans joined with Democrats to approve articles of impeachment against Nixon.
The public began to kind of render a judgment against Nixon, which was his popularity plummeted.
But Nixon resigned before the full House could vote on impeachment.
I must put the interests of America first. I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.